The sun was dipping below the horizon, casting a fiery glow over Crystal Lake, where my floating cabin sat among 7 others in the serene Willow Haven community. I'm Ethan Carter, a 35-year-old former tech developer who traded code for carpentry after a lucky inheritance. I thought buying cabin number 8 would mean quiet evenings and smooth waters. I was dead wrong. Enter Margaret Voss, 60, the iron-fisted HOA president who ruled our little lake-bound enclave like a queen. She was all smiles and potlucks on the surface, but underneath, a control freak who saw my cabin as her personal battleground. This is the story of how her obsession with power pushed me to outsmart her in a way she never saw coming, and how it sparked a fight that's still rippling through our community. It all started in August 2024 when I decided to spruce up my cabin. First, I installed a kayak rack at 9 a.m., hardly a crime. But by noon, sirens wailed, and 2 police cars docked at our floating walkways. Margaret had called 911, claiming I was disturbing the peace with excessive hammering. Officer Daniels, a no-nonsense guy, took one look at my single bracket and said, "This is standard daytime work. You're fine." I offered him a soda, and he left with a shrug. Margaret, watching from her deck, looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. Neighbors peeked out, some waving support, others shaking their heads. This was just the beginning. 2 days later, she struck again. I'd painted my cabin a deep forest green, different from the community's usual beige. Margaret called the cops, ranting about visual pollution and plummeting property values. I showed Officer Daniels my city-issued permit, and he sighed, "Paint's not a police matter, ma'am." By week 2, she escalated, accusing my electric kayak of environmental violations. Officer Daniels, now visibly annoyed, pointed out its eco-friendly motor and left. Margaret wasn't done. She called again, claiming I was illegally dumping waste while cleaning my kayak with eco-safe soap. An inspector confirmed my setup was cleaner than most marinas. By week 3, she hit a new low, accusing me of sabotaging the community's water pump after it broke down. I showed security footage proving it failed on its own. Officer Daniels warned her about false reports, but Margaret doubled down. Standing on her deck, she declared, "As HOA president, I demand control of Cabin 8. That's when I knew she wasn't just petty, she was dangerous. I called my lawyer, Lucas Grant, a sharp real estate attorney. Over coffee in a sleek office, he dropped a bombshell. Willow Haven's parent company, Lakefront Holdings, was drowning in debt and looking to sell the entire complex cabins, walkways, water rights for $3 million. With my inheritance, I could buy it. Lucas grinned. "We can use shell companies to keep it quiet until it's done." We set up 3 entities: Horizon Ventures, Clearwater Group, and Lakeside Trusto split the purchase. Margaret had no clue. For 2 weeks, I played it cool while Lucas worked magic with banks and title companies. Margaret kept up her routine daily inspections, phone calls to other HOA tyrants. I dodged neighbors' questions about the suits visiting my cabin, blaming tax planning. Then, on September 15th, 2024, it was official. I owned Willow Haven. That same day, Margaret called an emergency HOA meeting to vote me out. I walked in with Lucas and a stack of documents, dropping the news. As of this morning, I own every cabin, every walkway, every inch of this place. The HOA is dissolved. The room froze. Margaret's face cycled through shock, rage, and denial. "This is fraud," she screamed. I laid out my terms. Same rent. No rules beyond mutual respect. Neighbors cheered, but Margaret stormed out, vowing to fight. The next morning, a city inspector arrived, sent by Margaret to challenge my purchase. He found every document airtight. Then she spread rumors I'd triple rents and turn the place into a resort. I called a meeting, shared my real plans: better Wi-Fi, new walkways, a community grill, and invited everyone to see the contracts. Margaret's lies crumbled. She hired a hotshot lawyer, Victor Hayes, who sent a 15-page threat accusing me of fraud. Lucas shut it down with a crisp, "Prove it." But Margaret's obsession ran deeper than I knew. Her brother, Nathan Voss, arrived from Seattle, looking weary. Over coffee, he revealed their father, Henry Voss, designed Willow Haven in the 70s, pouring his heart into Cabin 8. He'd planned to retire there, but the 1984 recession forced him to use his savings for Margaret's college. He died 2 years later, and Margaret, blaming herself, saw my cabin as her father's stolen legacy. Her fixation wasn't just control, it was grief. Things spiraled when my security cameras caught her at 3 a.m., sabotaging the water pump and planting my tools to frame me. She even wore oversized boots to mimic my footprints, muttering, "This cabin is Dad's. I'll get it back." The next morning, she called 911, claiming I'd vandalized the pump. I showed Officer Daniels the footage, and Margaret was arrested for vandalism, evidence tampering, and false reports. In court, Nathan testified about their father's sacrifice, revealing Henry chose Margaret's education over his dream. Margaret broke down, sobbing, "He gave it up for me." The judge sentenced her to $30,000 in restitution, 200 hours of community service, counseling, and a restraining order. A month later, Willow Haven thrived without the HOA. Neighbors hosted barbecues, kids played freely, and we formed a resident council. Nathan updated me. Margaret was in therapy, slowly healing. But as I grilled steaks one evening, a call from Emily Stone in Pine Creek, Colorado, changed everything. Her HOA president was extorting $20,000 per home for a shady upgrade. She'd read about my fight and begged for help. I couldn't say no. Lucas and I were now on a mission to take down HOA bullies everywhere. What was Margaret's final desperate plan to reclaim Cabin 8? How far will Ethan go to stop Pine Creek's tyrant? And what dark secrets might other HOA presidents be hiding? Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for the next chapter of this fight for justice.